Hi crafting friends, and welcome to Technique Tuesday. Today we are going to make a spinner card. You can also call it a floating card, but it is so neat. So let's head down to the crafting table. Let's get started. Now for our first card, we are going to be using this beautiful die. Look at that. Just gorgeous. This first card's going to be an elegant card, and these dies are called Gorgeous Garden Dies. Now they go with a stamp set that is called Gorgeously Made. This is so pretty, and we will be making another video using these stamps. But for today's card, we're going to be using our stitched dies to create openings in our card, and also our stitched oval dies. So you can use any shape dies that you want to do this, but it needs to be able to wiggle in between the frame. And I'm going to show you what that means. So let's go ahead and get our base card cut. Now for this first base card, you're going to need an 8.5 by 5.5 scored at 4 1/4. And I want to remind you, all our measurements will be listed over on our website. Just click on my blog and you'll be able to get those. But you can also, and I'm going to show you at the end, put DSP right here. But we wanted to create an elegant card for our first card. So we took this die, and look at how beautiful this is. Isn't that gorgeous? Now, just a little tip. We used gold gift wrapping paper. Now, it is very thin, so you have to be very careful, but it is just so beautiful and shiny and exactly the color that we wanted. So the first thing we need to do to this base card is go ahead and get this laid down on our card, because I want the black to show through. I just think that looks so elegant. Now there's several ways you can lay this down. You can first make sure that you get your silicone mat so you don't get glue everywhere. You can use your Nuvo pen, and this will be linked below in the materials and supplies. Or you could just use your glue and just dab it in different places, because it doesn't have to be flat. It doesn't have to all be glued down to the card. I think it's pretty sometimes when you have a few of the leaves that stand up. So I'm going to use my Nuvo pen to attach it to the front of the card. Now, when you're using this pen, the way this works is you push it down and it brings glue to your tip. So I'm just going around. Now I am going to make sure that I get it on the edges, because we want to make sure that gets glued down really well on the card. So let's just go around the edges and up at the top, and then randomly at some different leaves. Being very careful, because this is very delicate. Okay, so let's pick this up. Move this out of the way, and let's get this laid down exactly in the right position. I'm going around the outside edges first. And then just coming back in and pushing down some of the leaves. Now, if you feel like you need to get some additional areas glued down, just come back in with that Nuvo pen and put a little bit of glue on your card. And look at how beautiful that looks. Oh, just gorgeous. Now, the next thing that we need to do is to decide how big of an opening we need. Now, I went ahead and I cut another frame out of the same paper, and I cut 2 black frames the same size because I want this built up just a little bit. Now, the other thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to turn this card landscape because when I put my frame there, it will give me more room to put a message in here. This is the size that I am using, and really you need to decide what size you need for your sentiment or your image that you're going to put in. So really it just all depends what your image is before you can decide on how big of an opening you need. But this is the exact opening I need. So I'm going to go ahead and put this through my embossing machine and get this cut out. Now let's look at this as we take it off our plates. Now look at this. Cut it out just perfectly. Now you can save this and use it on another card. So we're just going to put that to the side. Now the next thing we need to do is determine the size that we are going to hang from this center. And I've already selected this size right here. So I'm going to stamp it with our message. And there we have it. This is what will be floating right here in the center. We are going to use our grid paper to get this lined up right in the center. So I went ahead and I took a piece of thread and I'm just going to attach it right here in the middle. Now, I'm going to use some glue because I have a frame that goes over it, but I want my frame to be flat against the card. So you could, if you wanted to, put a little dimensional there, and then raise your frame up. But I want mine flat against the card. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue there. Right on the center, both areas. And now I'm just going to hold that there, pull this really tight and just hold it there just for a second until it dries. Because remember, you're going to have this on top of it, so that's also going to hold it. So what I want to do now is I want to go ahead and put another oval. I cut the exact same size ovals and I cut 2 of them because I'm going to put this one right in the back. I'm going to get it lined up in the middle. Just like this. And I'm going to put glue on either side. And lining it up like this using my grid mat allows me to really get it lined up evenly. I'm putting it on either side of the thread because I really don't want to wiggle the thread just yet. And now I'm going to put some glue on the back all over my sentiment, and I'm going to lay this down and hold it. The frame will be going over the thread to really hold it even tighter. So we're just going to push that down. And I cut out 2 black frames because I want to give some height. So let's just go ahead and add those together. You won't see this black frame, but it will give it some additional height. Put some more glue on this one and add our gold paper. Now, if your fingers get sticky, go ahead and just grab you a piece of paper, put it over your frame and hold it. And that will help it glue to those other mats. And look at that. Just beautiful. So now we're going to add this to the front of our card. And before we do that, we're just going to snip off this piece right here. And now we're going to lay our frame right over it. And now look at this card. Look at how pretty that is. You can spin this if you want. You can also put some flowers or something on that side. But instead of that, to make this even more special, we are bringing the inside mat. We are going to use this embossing pin that allows us to go around the outside of this and put embossing powder on it, just to give it that elegant look that we talked about. So let's see what happens. I'm just going to run it along the side. Gonna bring in my gold embossing powder. Now we're going to do this side. We're going to do all 4 sides. And now let's emboss it. And look at that. It just adds to the elegance of the inside of this card. Now let's go ahead and lay this down. And we have our first elegant floating card, spinning card, whatever you want to call it. Now, if you had put some flowers on the back side, you could decide to leave it this way when you put it in your envelope, or you can just flip it back. This is only the beginning of a life filled with love. Adding that gold paper with this die set, oh my goodness. Just love that card. But let's make another quick spinner or floating card. Now this time I went ahead and picked this beautiful DSP. Look at this paper. This is some of Maudie and my favorite paper. This DSP is just beautiful. And it is called Fresh as a Daisy. And it comes with our daisy collection that has just such beautiful paper with it. Look at that. Gorgeous paper. This time we cut a top fold, and this is 11 by 4 1/4 scored at 5 1/4. We added our DSP. We decided on what kind of opening we needed, how big we needed it. We went ahead and we created our frame for the front, and now all we need to do is have our message. Well, we stamped our message. But because it's a little small to fit in that opening, not to worry, we went and cut another one. So we are going to add this smaller one on top with dimensionals. So let's go ahead and do that before we even worry about putting our string down. So we're just going to grab some dimensionals. Take the backing off. And add this to our larger oval that we have. Now I really like that white on white. I think it just really adds to it. And look how it's set up. Okay, the next thing we need to do is get our string. And remember our string that we used, we pulled it apart already. So we're going to use that piece of string. We are once again going to open this up and use our grid paper to help us find the center. We have it right here. So we're just going to put some glue here at the top and at the bottom. Now you can also use a tape runner there, very small. You can't have it be very large, depending on the size of your frame, right? And you want it as tight as you can get it. And what helps to hold that down even more, of course, is your frame that you're going to glue over it. So we can go ahead and cut off this excess. And remember, the next thing that we like to do is we go ahead and we slip our backing right there. Now this is a stitch die, so I'm going to make sure my stitching is to the outside. I'm going to get this all lined up. We're going to add glue to either side, not touching the thread because we don't want to move it right this second. We want to wait until we put the top on. Going to add our glue to the back. Once again, make sure this is lined up. Now we're just adding that to the front. And remember what I said, if your fingers are sticky because you've been working with glue, grab you a piece of paper and go ahead and just put over it. And that way your little fingers won't pick up that label. Now, before you pick this up, we want to go ahead and lay down our frame that we created. Because that's going to secure our thread. Now you can use your bone folder and really go over that frame. And before you twist this right here, this sentiment, you want to make sure and let it dry. Okay, now look at that. We still need to add the inside, but you can see how it turns. You can put something on the back if you want. We're going to go ahead and just lay down our white mat on the inside. Now, look at these two cards. This one is so elegant. This one is a much more fun, happy card. Happy birthday, celebrate, graduation. Look at those cards. Now, I have two more to show you, so let me do that. Look at this beautiful one. Now, on this one, we used our dimensionals underneath the frame to hold our thread. You can see where we've lifted it up with foam and dimensionals. And then we've colored the back. We also put a little frame right here. And finally, we had to do a cute little card using our Hey Chuck stamp set. Rise and shine, he says. You've got something to crow about. It's your birthday. Once again, this floating part right here or this spinner card, so easy to recreate. So take a moment and leave us a comment. Which is your favorite? Do you like this elegant card, the daisy card, maybe the flower cards because we also have a frame inside? Or maybe you like our cute little Hey Chuck stamp set. We would love to know below this video. Well, thank you so much for joining us for Technique Tuesday. We hope you learned a new technique and would love to see your cards. You can post them over on our Facebook page. Well, if you were inspired by this video, we sure would love a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new to our channel. Go out, make it a fantastic day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.